Blog Talk Radio.
Read it. Verse 12. Amos chapter 8, verse 12. And they shall wander from sea to sea. And they shall wander from sea to sea. That means you're going from this place to this place. Well, let me go over here. Oh, this time I don't know. I don't like that. Well, let me go over to the Christian church. Well, I don't know. Well, maybe let me go into Hinduism. Well, I don't know. I don't like this church because this preacher said this. I don't like this church because this preacher said that. Let me tell you, if you were in the Word, it wouldn't matter what the preacher would say. If you was in the Word, you'll be able to see over what he's teaching. But you're going from sea to sea, all over the place. Read. Amos chapter 8, verse 12. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. Go ahead. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Most High, and shall not find it. You're going to wish one day you was able to sit in your cushy house and cut on your computer and see the word of the Most High. You're going to long for that time. You're going to wish you had that opportunity. Soon reading the Bible is going to be against the law of the earth. Soon. They're moving everyone into a new age movement. And the only thing you can believe in is yourself. And you are being programmed. That's going to be the belief system. Yourself. That's the new age movement. How grim and dark the government of this earth is. That all of them are in league and are in bed with Satan. That's the truth. Not one of them are with the Most High. Why? Because this kingdom was given into the hand of Satan. Job 9 and 24 tells you the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. So in order for you to rule in this government, you must go to Satan to get your power. He tried to offer it to Christ. Christ denied it. But who took it? All the governments in this earth who will soon pay. They live lavishly in this earth off the bones, blood, sweat, and tears of the children of Israel. Yes, but now they have to pay. It's time. All these wars in the earth are culminating. They're leading to their own demise. And we're just the people with no weapons. This is our weapon. The only thing we have is this, Christ, in the name of the Most High, and we'll win.
It's the musical words of the Gathering of Christ Church. You can find them at gatheringofchrist.org. Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning to you and yours, wherever you are on the World Wide Web. You are listening to Let's Talk, brought to you by the Men Empowered Organization on the Blog Talk Radio Network at blogtalkradio.com. My name is Malachi. I am your host for another edition of Let's Talk on Blog Talk Radio. It is a February the 7th, 2013. It is a Thursday, and it is time for Let's Talk. If you would like to join in on our show conversation while we are here live, you can hit us up at 347-205-9279, or you can chat with us right there in the chat room at Blog Talk Radio. So if you are ready to make a comment, you can press 1 on your phone anytime. And as always, our office here at the Men Empowered Organization is area code 504-484-9388, as well as our email address is menempoweredtoprosper@yahoo.com. We are Men Empowered at twitter.com. Tonight, I'm going to open the mics up, whatever is on your mind, current events, historical, scripture, whatever that is on your mind, you can bring it across our audience. Like I say, our audience is over 700 listeners strong. Every night we have people constantly listening to our broadcast in the archives as well as here live. So whatever is on your mind tonight, we're going to open the mics up for you, the audience, and you are our special guest right here on Let's Talk. Just want to remind you the Gathering of Christ Church is here at Blog Talk Radio daily, so you can check them out by going to blogtalkradio.com and punch in on search GOCC. That's the Gathering of Christ Church right here on Blog Talk Radio. For more information on the Hebrew Academy, which I am a graduate of, you can send an email to gatheringas1, the number one, at AOL.com. Also, if you have any kind of question or event, if you want to have any questions about our history in the Bible, go ahead and go to their official website, is www.gatheringofchrist.org. And like I said, we are here Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. On Sunday, it is the book of Jasher, the book of Jasher on Let's Talk, and it is at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And joining with me for the very first time right here on this broadcast, my lovely wife, Amy Jo Heron. She will be with us. She will be our reader, and we will be in the book of Jasher, chapter 16. And on Tuesday, again, it is what I call the award-winning investigative reporting CSI, Crime Scene Investigation, studying and investigating our history as well as all the news and everything in between. It is CSI, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on Blog Talk Radio. Okay, I think I've got all the announcements up. I'm going to go ahead and speak. Whatever you're thinking about that's on your mind, the microphone is now open for you. But I'm going to kind of give you the origin of the Men Empowered organization and how we got started. And to do that, I got to let you know a little bit about my life, about the history of how I grew up, in what kind of influence I've had throughout the years since I've been doing this and continuing to grow as we speak. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. Whatever is on your mind, we will open it up to you. The number to call is 347-205-9279, or you can chat with us right there in the chat room. And tonight's scripture, I'm going to give you this because this is the foundation of what we're about getting ready to speak on. Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. My people, God's people, the Most High people, He's his people. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of thy Most High. I will also forget thy children. Now, if you can see that, we're destroyed for lack of knowledge, because if we're not seeking knowledge, then we are destroyed by the enemies of the Most High. The enemies of the Most High is idolatry and all his laws and all of his statutes. Now, the reason for tonight's broadcast is that I was inspired when I listened to yesterday's I was listening to yesterday's search engine by the brothers at GOCC. They had Pastor Manning on there, and Pastor Manning speaks his mind, and some of those things, when you listen to it, if you don't have the understanding, it can be very offensive to you because of who you are. And you look at it and you say, do this man not know who He is. But, it's also the reason why we are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because we do not know who we are. There's a song that we play here all the time, gifted and arranged by Hen featuring Uriah. It's called Who You Are. And it talks about who He is, the children of Israel, who are in this country, the tribe of Judah, as well as other tribes that are here in this country. But it talks about the people that are on the streets, wilding out, talking all this noise and jive. And when a person knows who they are, and you see our people that are lost in religion, lost in Christianity, just plain lost. I mean, you look at Hosea 4:6. It says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Well, if you don't know that knowledge, then you are lost. So I want to take you on a journey that has led me to the knowledge of where I'm at today. And I want you to look through my eyeglasses and see what I see growing up. Well, raised here in Mississippi, in the Deep South, the most segregated, the most devastated racist state on the planet, here in the United States, also known as Babylon. I was raised through my parents at an early age, my mother and my father. Yes, they were married. And both of my parents now are deceased. And I used to think we were rich. Now, I didn't know the value of dollars and everything like that, but I knew that I had very good security with my parents. Everything was intact. I had a grandmother on both sides as well as grandfathers. I knew my grandfather on my father's side, but my grandfather on my mom's side passed away. Well, as we growing up, we had that security blanket, my sister and I, at that particular time. Then came along my baby brother. And when we grew up, we had family all around us. We had uncles we can depend on. We had aunts that we can go to for security. We had so much love in that family, especially on my father's side. Now, there were some issues on my mom's side. My mom, my grandmother, a divorced woman at that particular time, had only one child, one daughter. Before she passed away, she told me that she was trying to have other children, but she miscarried. And she was a respected school teacher in the Hattiesburg public school system for a number of years. Went to Jackson State College. It was known as Jackson State College, now Jackson State University, historical black university, one of many here in the Deep South. There's a reason why we have segregated universities. If you know your history, you know why we had those universities. But it's Black History Month, or you can say it's Hebrew History Month. But we are getting to the root of why we have all this. That is the reason why we have CSI, Crime Scene Investigation. What crime is segregation? Well, growing up in the Deep South, in Mississippi, in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, growing up, we were required to go to church every Sunday. I don't care how late you stayed out. If you were able to stay out, you were going to church on a Sunday. We didn't know nothing about no commandments as far as keeping the Sabbath and everything like that. All we knew was the commandment to go to church, and we went to church. If you didn't go to church, man, you were on punishment. So me and my sister and my brother, off we go to church. And the church at that time that we were going to, my home church, was Mount Zion Baptist Church here in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. One particular time while I was growing up, didn't have an understanding because I was so into television, especially sci-fi movies. Well, when it wasn't Sunday, I was able to relax and didn't have to go to church. but I was asked to go to church, and I could either say yes or no. Well, one particular time, this historical black church in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, on Manning Avenue, Mount Zion Baptist Church, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King came to speak at that church. Well, I didn't know who Martin Luther King was. I was so into my movies. I was a kid, so I didn't know anything about him. And I had a shelter life. I didn't even know we had segregation. I didn't even know anything about white people, except for I saw them driving the bus. At that particular time, I don't even remember sitting on the back of the bus. We sat up front. The only thing I can remember was I rode the bus. I wasted my popcorn, and the bus driver said, "Don't worry about it. He gonna eat it up off the floor." And that's all I remember about that situation. I was a little child there in Mississippi. But we went to church. All our lives we went to church. We had church every other Sunday. When the Sunday wasn't time for us to go to church, we had Sunday school. We had the option of going to another church or coming home after Sunday school. The traditions of men, this at that time was what was his name? Barnes, Milton Barnes. I believe that was his name, Milton Barnes. But someone know it from Hattiesburg. You know who I'm talking about. But that was my lifestyle. But as I came of age, I began to just kind of grow up. You know, playing in the band, had a love for jazz music as well as brass instruments because I played in the band at that time. I love radio. I had a thing about jazz music. Well, we weren't that far from New Orleans, Louisiana. Well, when I went to a New Orleans Saints game, I fell in love with this particular high school band called the Marching St. Augustine Catholic School down there. And I loved the way they march. Didn't know anything just yet about Southern University, but I do know and remember because my parents both went to Jackson State College. I did know about the Sonic. Well, as I followed in my dad's footsteps for one season and played football in junior high. Well, I didn't like that because I wanted girls. Well, I said the easy way for me to get girls, hey, I'm in the band. And so I played my trumpet, and that was that. And, you know, those were the carnal things that I was looking at. Upon graduation, I got married at an early age. The thing we did, I married a preacher's kid. And if you know anything about being a preacher's kid, you know you wanted to do just about anything you weren't allowed to do. And so I married this particular woman. We had a child at that time, and we stayed married pretty close to 2 years. Got a divorce, went to school in New Orleans, Louisiana, Elkins Institute of Technology and Radio Broadcasting. Didn't like New Orleans at that time, came back to Mississippi, worked in the restaurant industry for a number of years, and then all of a sudden I find myself working at this particular place called the International House of Pancakes. At that particular time, I was working on the Mississippi Gulf Coast in Biloxi, Mississippi. Flipping the channels like I always do, I start flipping and watching, trying to find something that was on TV for me to watch. And all of a sudden, I get stopped and had an interrupt by a man by the name of Pat Robertson. He began to intrigue me about this Bible thing. And I said, let me listen to this guy. Well, I didn't know a whole lot about his historical things and the Masons because it was irrelevant to me because I didn't have not any kind of knowledge of that. So at that time, I began to listen to him, and he began to just quicken in my spirit that I needed to be saved. And that was the going thing. Are you saved? You know, things like that. So I went, didn't have a phone at that time, and ran and called a 700 Club and talked to a counselor. She led me to the Lord by giving me the sinner's prayer to repeat back. And I remember I was at the Howard Johnson's hotel in Biloxi, Mississippi, in front of all these people on the payphone and making that confession. I felt a big relief about that because I thought I had fire insurance. Well, I said I wanted to go back to Hattiesburg, transfer back to International House of Pancakes, going back to Hattiesburg from the Gulf Coast, and go back to my church. Thought I was going to learn something, but I was in church. I had something because at that time we didn't. The only place where I was getting knowledge from, because they weren't teaching anything, the only place I was getting knowledge from was the 700 Club. Even though it was the wrong knowledge, I was getting something, and it was very, very limited. Now, what I chose to do was to just listen and not investigate the Bible. That's some of the things we did when we were going into the church. We would go to church, didn't take our Bible, and just 100% believe everything that come out of that pastor's mouth. Didn't kind of check up on what he was talking about. We just knew it had to be the truth from God. And that was my lifestyle on that. And after that, I just began to just, I was looking for, at that time I was divorced, and I was just kind of looking for, I wanted to be back in a marriage situation, so I was just looking for to have another wife. And I stayed single for a number of years. But doing that, I wanted to grow in the Most High's Word. So I began to search out those things. Back in 1981 is when I was introduced to the Most High. Back in 1980, 1980. So the two people on television that I was listening to were Pat Robertson and Dr. Frederick K.C. Price. Y'all know Fred Price. Well, those are the people who I studied with at that particular time. We didn't know anything about Hebrewism and all of this. That wasn't even around then. Nobody was talking about that. So I was all in the 700 Club and everything like that. And then one day, one of my classmates came to me and told me he wanted me to come to his church. Well, at that particular time, this was the first Hebrew church that I went to that I heard them speaking about black people in the Bible. Well, at that particular time, this was the name of this church, I think, was the Israel's Nation or something like that. My classmate invited me to that, and I went there, started listening to them. It was only one visit, because what threw me off, what messed me up with them was not because she was a woman, but because the woman had a cigarette in her mouth after the service. That turned me off. I know she had no business telling me what said the Lord when she had a cigarette in her mouth, killing herself with that tobacco and that cancer. I know too well about tobacco and all the effects that it had on health. Because I was really into health these days, because at that particular time also I was with an organization, a sales organization that was teaching us self-help, and it had propaganda about the Republican Party. And that organization was the Amway organization. Yes, I was in there trying to sell soap and everything else, but I was indoctrinated about things of everything about the patriotic America and this, and this was the beginning of my Republican doctrine of learning to be a good citizen of the United States of America. A black man being a Republican. Boy, I tell you what, when I got indoctrinated with the Amway organization and its political views because of the people that were mostly Republican and this free capitalism and free enterprise system, my mom and my grandmama and my dad and them started looking at me, and they had to wonder, oh, what happened to our son? Where did he get all this doctrine? But it was quite an experience. I stayed with that organization for 16 years. Never made over $1,000 with them. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, a quick music break, and we're going to get back and give you the rest of this story. The phone number to call here is 347-205-9279. If you don't want me to rumble around and tell you my story, let's hear your story. The phone lines are open at 347-205-9279. So, as I was saying, that I was in this organization, the Amway organization, for a number of years, and it was something to keep me busy and everything like that, and I really enjoyed it. I was learning some things. I was learning about health, but what else I was learning about and I did not know, I was learning a lot of self-help things, something to do with psychology, and to my findings, I really find out that a lot of this stuff that they tell you to say as far as being stripped was witchcraft. That's right, witchcraft. A lot of things that you do is because what people put in the atmosphere far as say, trying to get you to move a certain way. A lot of the network marketing companies that are out there that have this particular teaching on everything that they're stripped. And you know, they say something, and if you say something on this matter, then they'll give you a strip thing to tell you how to counter-react that. Not all of them, but most of them. And I find out that the last network marketing company that I was in, that's based out in Texas, is all about the money, not seeing that they're taking care of the customer. It's all about the money. And that's wrong right there. If you're presenting a service, you're supposed to think about the service. So what you're going to do is you don't have the service in that area for that customer, but you're still going to take their money for it. Yeah, that's what kind of stuff that I was looking at. Then I finally looked at it and I said, I can't do this anymore. Not because of the money, because of misrepresentation to the people that is out there. That's the reason why I gave that up. Kind of give you a hint, let's look at dental plans. Now, if you can understand dental plans, then you know which company that I'm talking about that is in Texas, okay? Now, let's go ahead and by the way, it's just not my words, but to back this all up, you can look at all the complaints that went in at the Better Business Bureau on that. Okay, now, you know, during my time with the Amway organization, I was drawn to basically go to all these meetings. This was my church. This was my worship. This, because I wasn't getting fed at church, I was getting fed with all this information being bombarded, psychology. I was, this psychology, this philosophy, I was being bombarded with the Amway organization and the organizations within the organizations. And, I mean, it was to the point to where come hell or high water, we're going to do what we got to do in order for us to make that meeting because we needed our fix. We needed to get a tape or a CD. We had tapes, cassette tapes at that time, and we listened to it over and over and over again. And this particular spirit began to develop within me, which caused me to react certain ways that got the results of what I was listening to. Yeah, that's philosophy. That is philosophy that was on the inside of me, the devil's workshop. Now, after I finally got delivered from that, as I was going through this particular organization, I was indoctrinated. I said, man, I'm tired of getting fired from a job in the restaurant industry. I joined the United States Army, not realizing that there was a leader on the inside of me to find out my potential and everything like that. And I hope with this internet, I am coming in loud and clear and not breaking up. So I think I probably need to kind of slow down so the internet can catch up with my voice. But I was stationed at Fort Jackson, South Carolina in the year of 1980 or 81. And at that particular time in Columbia, South Carolina, I began to develop some things that was on the inside of me. Kind of like if I was in slavery, I would have done something to get away from slavery. You know, our society called these psychologists doctors, and who in the world that was the father of psychology, he did a study on the on the slaves. Wanted to know why in the world would a slave want to run away from his master? Well, this particular genius, the doctor of psychology, figured out that the slave was wanting this disease of being free. And by him being free, he wanted to run away from his master. So the slave master said, well, what can we do to deviate this problem with our slaves? Because they can't think for themselves. So this father of psychology said, you can drive this particular disease out of this slave by whipping them and beating this particular disease out of them. Boy, I tell you, our society. And then they give us these things that we're only a quarter of a human, stuff like that. It's just so much that's going on these days that, we have learned. But that's our philosophy. But I found out when I was pushed too far, I began to react to the point to where something has got to change because I don't like this feeling. Well, my particular platoon at that time was being drilled by a Caucasian drill sergeant who had issues, not with color, but he had issues with women. But that's another story, and we won't get into that. But he was drilling us and drilling us and drilling us and did not like the way we were marching. And so he said, I'm so tired of y'all marching wrong. I'm going to show you what's right and wrong. I'm going to get you out here in the sand, and we're going to do some sand drills. Well, most of y'all who had some training in the military and basic training, you know what I'm talking about. And I don't like those sand drills that we used to do. In the hot heat summer of South Carolina, you don't want to be in the sand in the South, in South Carolina. Believe me, you don't. And it was in the late afternoon of the day. Well, something on the inside of me came up to me, and I just got tired of being around like that. I had platoon leaders that could not be platoon leaders because they were just being put down all the time. Well, something on the inside of me got up and said, man, I'm tired of being pushed around. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of somebody telling me that I'm a loser. I'm tired of this guy telling me that we can't march right. Man, we can do this thing, man. I don't know about y'all, but I became a cheerleader for my particular company at that particular time, my particular platoon. And these 30 or 40 guys got inspired by me getting all excited about saying this. Now, I'm a big sports follower. I love football. Well, in the movie Friday Night Lights, there's this guy that plays defense by the name of Ivory Christian. Ivory Christian doesn't say anything in that movie until they're playing the state championship. Ivory Christian is so frustrated because his team is down by 2 points. And Ivory Christian, all of a sudden, is in that locker room, being exploded. And he says, what's the matter with y'all? Like y'all ain't never played football before. Man, we done had 3 drills, 4 drills a day, and we did this and we did that. Y'all better get excited, man. We finna come back out here and play football. Y'all play like a bunch of girls. It's time to quit playing. I mean, he motivated his team and turned them around to the point to where they almost won that state championship game. That's how I was when I was in Fort Jackson, South Carolina. And at that particular time, I said, come on with me. I know I didn't want to go down into that sand again. So I motivated the troops, and we got there, and believe me, we came out tied for number one, the number one platoon in that particular company. There were four. There were four platoons, and our platoon came in tied with this other platoon that was led by a black drill sergeant. Man, we had two drill sergeants. The white boy we had, they let him go because he couldn't keep his hands off of the girl, the females that was in the company, and we had a company full of females, and I ain't gonna tell his business like that, but next thing we know, he's gone. And see, we had a Hispanic drill sergeant. I'll never forget his name as long as I live, Sergeant Lutero. He looked at me and he knew I had the potential, but he couldn't get it out of me to be the leader that I needed to be. I was always an assistant. That's where I wanted to be, an assistant. I did not want to lead. I wanted to be. I don't have a problem being a follower, and I'll be a leader within the organization. But far as getting things started, oh no, I said nah, not me. I just want to follow. I just want to be a good soldier, and that sort of thing. And I did this in just about every job that I've been in, and I believe the Most High was developing me and carrying me through all these ordeals, getting me to see the potential that I had to be a great leader. And I'm still being developed to be a great leader. As a matter of fact, on my job that I'm doing right now, my partner that is involved with this ministry that we have recognized that about me. Malachi, you always following somebody else. You always being a follower. Why don't you just lead? You got the potential to do that. But I'm always following, looking at somebody else to do this and do that. I just be part of the troops. I'd be a lieutenant or something like that. And it's the same way when I started this organization. And before I tell you how the Men in Power organization got started, let me go ahead now, and because I know I can talk, and I can talk long. We're 10 minutes before we go into overtime, and it's going to probably take most of the time in the overtime to talk. So if you all want to say something, it's best for you all to go ahead and come out of the chat room and be online with your phones, and go ahead and just basically be listening so you can make your comments through there. The number again is 347-205-9279. And that was I stayed in the military for 7 years. I recognized the calling on my life that the Most High had on me. So therefore, I did not re-up in the United States military, the United States Army. So they were trying to get me to re-up again another 3 years, another 7 years, and stuff like that. No matter what kind of money they were offering me, I was done. I knew that the Most High had something for me to do. I was done. And so that ended that. And after that military training on that, I started looking into learning more. And I heard Dr. Price say at one particular time, I was always listening to him every Sunday without fail. He was the only one that was teaching me how to read in the Bible, because everybody else was just looking at Reader's Digest and everything like that. Why would we take our Bibles to Bible class? We're not picking it up and reading. That's the way things were done. And so I began at that particular time, heard Dr. Price say something that changed my entire life. He said, if the church that you're going to is not feeding you the Word of God, then it's time to change church. And that clicked on the inside of me, and I began to start seeking out other churches. Well, I began to start seeking out other denominations and other, if you want to call it that, different theology. I dabbed a little bit into the Nation of Islam. I did some things with the Jehovah's Witness and just said, nah, I don't see anything. It's not clicking. Well, I all of a sudden I got to the point to where I started looking into some of my classmates at this full gospel charismatic church there. Well, I got caught up in that for a number of years, thinking that this particular church had the line open to God. So I was with them for a number of years, found out that they were human too. It seems to me that and it's true. You cannot, man will let you down, but the Most High will not. So don't have your trust in a man, no matter if he's Hebrew Israelite and he's a teacher. You go by you got your own link to the Most High. You need to have your own relationship with the Most High, His Holy Spirit, and His Son. You can bank on that. If you are linked in with them, you will know who is running in errors and who's not running in errors. So I began to go out with these full gospel charismatic churches, and that sort of thing, got caught up into the limelight, so to speak, of being charismatic. And at this particular time is when my present wife that I'm married to now, we were studying on those same lines. And she was going to a church who, by the way, is supposed to be speaking with us hopefully before the month is out. Pastor Maurice Item should be with us here one of these Thursdays, and he'll be giving his testimony, how he came out of the religion or the religiology and came into the Most High's truth. And I began to just get into that, and I saw some things. I thought these people could not make any kind of mistakes. So when I was looking at them and not looking at the Word, I was let down. I was let down. I said, how could these people have? And I had white pastors at that time, and I thought that they could not do anything wrong. And but the Holy Spirit let me hear something, and they were saying some things that I started questioning their authenticity of the Word. And I began to ask them questions, and they began to get frustrated of the questions that I was asking them. They were telling me, if you just don't agree with what we, have here, you can always go ahead and leave. Well, really, I wanted to work things out, and I wanted to get to the truth. If we're supposed to be serving the Most High God, then everything's supposed to be lined up according to the Word of the Most High. And so some things happened when Fred Price came along and he started teaching on his racism, and religion. The church was predominantly black, but nobody wanted to talk about what Fred Price had to say on it. They would want to say something that he's wrong here and there and that sort of thing. And I started having this relationship with the Hagen's ministry, Dr. Kenneth Hagin, Papa Hagin. Most of y'all may know him, may not know him. The Copelands, Creflo Dollar started following them, and that sort of thing. Well, I got out of this particular church, went to another church that believed in basically the same thing, but it was black, all black. I said, if I'm going to be persecuted in a church, because of my color, and we're supposed to believe God, I might as well be among my own people, to where I know I'm comfortable with, because they won't discriminate. They won't discriminate against its own people. But hey, I found out they can look like the so-called thing of about what we used to call trying to look good in front of master. And you can look at it as to like, oh, they're just trying to kiss buck and be impressive among masters. The masters, they, here's what I say. If you are, and I'm just looking at this as a church. Now, I'm not discriminating or I'm not looking at something, but you got to look at what country we're living in and the racism that's going on in this particular country. Well, being at this predominantly black church, black pastors, black bishop, all of this and all that, big mega church, You know, when you're supposed to be have a membership of over 300, 500, 1,000 strong, whatever the case may be, but you're still advertising, trying to get white folks to come to your predominantly black church, you're barking up the wrong audience because they're not coming. The thing is, they will look at that, but they won't serve the Most High because of their skin color, because they will look and they will compromise the Word of God because of what their friends are going to say. They will not come to that church because some of them, now not all of them, some will be bold and they will endure the persecution just like Abraham did. But most of them won't, because they don't want to have their friends. What you doing? And I'm gonna be blunt. I say this. What you doing around all those niggas? Why you going to that nigger church over there? Now I'm saying that because this is what is going on in our society today, and they're still saying it. You know, and this is what happened. When I started fasting and praying, I asked the Most High, why is it that we have racism among your people who call themselves your people, meaning the church, meaning Christ's church, the bride, waiting for the bridegroom to come along, but they don't know that the bridegroom is a black man. Oh, my, yeah, I said that. So I started looking and I started saying, now why are we putting advertisement in the white community for a number of years, and you have not one white person coming out of those communities, but you just want to let them see or let them know that they can come here too, because you can't have one or two white persons or white families that come to the church, but a majority of the people just don't feel comfortable among blacks because they feel that they are superior more than we are, because from generation to generation to generation to generation, it's been passed down. It's been passed down in Esau's kingdom that we're more superior than we are, and they believe that they have, you know, like just like on Tuesday or Sunday night broadcast, I started showing you the lineage of Jacob, and I showed you, and the other night we talked about Esau and Obadiah. They think that they are this, but they are not. They are the synagogue of Satan, the people that are over there in Israel today perpetrating a fraud, saying that they are from the tribe of Judah, when we know who the tribe of Judah is according to the prophecy and according to the scriptures. Now, so I stayed in this charismatic denominations for a number of years, but then all of a sudden I woke up, and I woke up and systematically things beginning to happen, because I started seeking the Most High, and I wanted to find out, what is this truth, thus said the Most High. And so back in 2008, I began to formation the Men Empowered organization. Well, I thought I was going to, before I left the charismatic denomination, I thought I was going to have some brothers that was going to help me out, and we're going to get this thing started. But they were so afraid of the pastor, because the pastor was jealous. He didn't want nobody else to be strong in the word, more stronger than him. Jealousy among it, and I saw it. The Holy Spirit pointed that out to me, because there was a jealous spirit. I mean, how can you be jealous when I fasted and got my needs met according to fasting and praying, but you look at it by sowing? You think it's sowing seeds into and giving offerings to get your needs met. And this is what's going on in the Christian society. There, in most of them, they say, well, you got to sow a seed and you're going to get a blessing. Well, that's part of it, but obedience is where your blessing is. And your obedience is to knowing the laws and statutes of the Most High. And that's what I found out we were not doing in the denominational world. including full gospel, charismatic churches as well. So I began to start seeking. But you know what I used to do? I wanted to find out who got the answer. And I started buying all these books from Books A Million. Buying this book, that book, this book, from Christian authors thinking that they had the answer. On fire for the Most High, on this and on that, on fire for God, how to get your blessing here, your needs met. Well, I picked up a book by Dr. Matthew Ashimolowo, this African-Nigerian pastor in the UK, and he began to, when I picked up that book, he had the history of Ham, but he made the mistake and said that all the black people from Ham's race. But before I get into that, with a few minutes left, with another hour left on this, I got to take a music break, and I'll be back in 3. Here's Richie Righteous here, who was on the broadcast about a year ago, and we interviewed him on Friday Night Gospel Jam. So here's Richie Righteous, and we'll be back in 3.
From the minute that you're born, your body starts to decay. Your skin and your hair will turn wrinkle and gray. One thing's for sure, we gon' pass away. That's right, dog, you wasn't put here to stay. I know you think you gon' live forever. You keep telling yourself you should chase cheddar. I can't front, I wanna be rich too, but I'm smart enough to know you can't take it with you. You got the cars, got the cribs, ride through the hood and everybody know you're rich. Believe me, money do make life easy when you can make it rain like Fat Joe and Weezy. Brunch in Paris, dinner in America. This morning Chanel, tonight it's Erica. I got ice in my Rolex, rims in the car. I could buy out the bar, show the world I'm a star. G4 flies to Sandro Pay. Look, I know you're trying to get paid, and all that money do sound real nice, but you don't got nothing if you don't got sight. They wanna be, they wanna be R-I-C-H. Come on, come on, they wanna be, they wanna be R-I-C-H. Come on, come on. So don't store treasures in a place where it rots. Don't die and go to a place where it's hot. People think money's everything, but it's not. The things people do for the guap. Rappers will sell out their souls on a track. Some would even sell to their own mama crack. Rich people got it and they cheat on their tax. Girls sell their bodies and they lay on their backs. Some of them strip to make a porn flick fake like you're homeless and then walk with a limp. For oil and diamonds, so many died. So many nations face genocide. Man, no matter how you get it, you're dead wrong. If you think you can take it when you're dead and gone, all money does when they zip you in the plastic is burn you a suit to roll the line with the gas. They wanna be, they wanna be R-I-C-H. Come on, come on. They wanna be, they wanna be R-I-C-H. Come on, come on. You got 24 hours, 60 minutes, 60 seconds. Your clock's ticking, time moves fast, and all the money in the world can't buy back a second of your past. Can't buy breath when you passing away. So tell me, what's the value of today? I discovered at last you're really poor if all that you got in this world is cash. I got Jesus, I'm not a hostage, no longer living in bondage. Addiction's gone since I met the Savior. Believe me, I know all about favor, I know about joy, I can smile, I know about the Father's love for a child. I know what it's like to have bitterness gone. I know what it feels like to sing a new song. Rest in his arms, peace within. I'm a better man, jump free from sin. In my life after, I'ma reign as a king. And I think it didn't cost me a thing. Cha-ching. They wanna be, they wanna be R-I-C-H. Come on, come on. They wanna be, they wanna be R-I-C-H. Come on, come on. They wanna be, they wanna be R-I-C-H. Come on, come on. They wanna be, they wanna be R-I-C-H.
music of Richie Righteous taken from the CD Resting in Christ's Hands. We may have some interference on this, but we're moving on this. It's always difficult when you've got to move along with the truth. And when the truth comes out, he will try to mess you up to get you frustrated, but we're moving on through. So, basically the formation of the Men in Power organization and this radio broadcast. And as I begin to look at Pastor Matthew Ashimolowo's book, we did a talk show here. And also, organization radio show went on the air March 10th, 2009, our first broadcast. And then we just began to do research for the research for the show, and then we started saying, okay, we got to find out the truth, and it began to allow me to study and learn some things because I wanted to not only do the broadcast, but I wanted to know. I wanted to seek the kingdom out and hear on this. And so we did for a long period of time. It was some messed up teaching, but we went through it and we studied. But after I came into the truth, I had to revise that particular broadcast that we did because we had some errors in that. So we revised it because we thought all black folks came from Ham, which was not true. And we found out the people here in America came from the line of Shem. And so as I began to start meeting other brothers in the organization, we started information, and the Most High did not let us really come through and really advance that particular organization locally because we had some doctrinal doctrines differences, and that we were not on all one accord. So when you're not on all one accord, it's not going to happen. You're already divided before you even got started. So one of the brothers that was with us in the early part of our broadcast, the Absolute Knowledge and Truth, and is no longer with us. He just basically, the Most High just showed us who's not going to be with us, and so we're just basically down to the number that we're with right now. And so we didn't put him out. He just basically left. And it was always some friction. But, things now, with what we're doing now, things are working in harmony. You can work in harmony. You can disagree without being disagreeable. That's what we had at the time. And so now, my thing was I wanted them to see the big picture of the Gathering of Christ Church. But, I saw where it's like I was, and my partner pointed this out to me, said, you always following everybody and not taking the lead for yourself. You always following. And so even though we have these brothers and we promote their stuff and things of that nature, the Gathering of Christ Church, but we're independent from the Gathering of Christ Church. And, all the audio clips that we play on our broadcast, we got permission when we interviewed Elder Ricashiar on this particular broadcast. He gave us permission to play any of his clips, on that. And so we've been doing that ever since. And since we've had him on the broadcast, but I had to take the lead and learn and had to trust in the Most High to give me the knowledge and revelation. I get revelation and knowledge when I read, especially when I've been reading the book of Jasher. I mean, this thing has come out, it's almost like child's play. And let me kind of give you an example. If you're a TV fanatic like I was, I used to watch the original Star Trek series. I can remember when Spock, they had these people took his brain out, Dr. Spock. They took his brain out. So Jim and McCoy went to find Spock's brain. And so they found Spock and his brain, and they had to have brain surgery. And so they looked at Bones, and Bones looked at them and said, I'm a surgeon, not a brain surgeon, or something like that, to the fact that he couldn't do that. You're talking about a brain. You ain't talking about sewing up blood vessels and things of that nature. You're talking about a brain, and besides that, Spock was Vulcan. I'm just using this as an example so you can get the understanding. Well, McCoy, being the human he was, very limited knowledge that he had, they had this particular machine that would give him the knowledge to put Spock's brain right back into his head. So the machine came over, and he was endowed with this knowledge. And then he said, "My God, Jim, Chow can do this." Every time I see that, or every time I talk about it, I get excited because it gives me the revelation of the knowledge of what the Most High's Word has. If we only just open the book and read it, we will get the knowledge from the Most High Himself. He will give us the revelation of it, of what we're already reading. The Holy Spirit will teach us and show us those things. And so I used to be bothered so much about all these prophecies when I was in the full gospel charismatic world, and they were telling me about this and that and such and such. To an extent, I still believe that these people were led by Most High, and that sort of thing, but they were just limited in what they were able to do. And so this one particular brother out of Jackson, Mississippi, at the last church that I was a member of, before I left out of the church world itself, he said to me, "Man, the Lord said it's been time for you to step out and start teaching men and everything like that." I mean, I did not know my potential. There's been several people telling me, it said, "Man, it's been time for you to lead and not follow." And so I stepped out on my own, not knowing how this was going to pan out. And this is where we are today, with over 700 listeners per episode that is listening to the show that we're doing from all over the country, as well as in other parts of the world. This to me is not about money. It's not about fame. It's about getting the truth. This is what I went to school for. I was going to do it for the world, but now I'm doing it for the Most High, not for money or gain, but please Him. Now, if all these other people can get excited, I'm sure I could get excited about this. I enjoy seeing people wake up just like I was woken up. I'm gonna give you another movie to get an example by is The Matrix. When Neo came out of the Matrix and they start plugging him into the knowledge, I like the fact that he said when he was getting downloaded, he woke up and he looked at Morpheus and he said, "I know Kung Fu." Now, just in that matter of moments, he knows Kung Fu. Come on now. Now, when you look at the book of Genesis, like we're doing, all 90 chapters, and we're on chapter 16 this Sunday, you get the understanding of how Abraham became the father of many nations. It's not because of his faith, it's because of his seeking knowledge and obeying the Most High. Yes, you will get the understanding when you start reading the book of Genesis. Like I said before, when you want to know about Christ, there's different accounts about Christ in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They have a different perspective. For so many years, we as African American people have been looking through the eyeglasses of Gentiles and not through the heritage that we already have. And so as this, I started seeking, and then some of the brothers who are not with us, we begin to start meeting. And all of us begin to start meeting, and we start looking and comparing notes of who they had as well as who we had. And they gave us the knowledge of us being Hebrew. And I kept trying to figure it out because I was still thinking that we came from Ham. So how could they say that we are Hebrew when the chosen from the Abraham line? But I kept looking at us coming through Ham's line. And then I woke up, and one of the brothers showed me a scripture of who we are, and that was in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 15 through 68. And from that investigation, no other people fits this description but us here in America who are descendants of slaves. And that's how I began. I said, "Ooh, wait a minute, man, I've been missing too much." And so I looked at that, and I started looking, started going under search under YouTube, and I started looking at other people who are teaching Hebrew on Blog Talk Radio, and I ran into a lady by the name of Georgia Johnson. Well, I started beginning to look at Georgia Johnson because I wanted more knowledge. I mean, it was like I needed to have a crash course in knowing who I am. And so I had a crash course from Georgia Johnson, and Georgia Johnson kept playing these clips. Guess who the clips she was playing of? She was playing the interview of Praise FM out of the UK, and she was playing the clips from the Rabbi and Elder Rikashia of the Gathering of Christ Church. I was so impressed with this brother when I heard him speak about who we are in the Word. That is when I said, "Oh man, this brother knows something. Who is this guy?" And I started listening to that and listening to it over and over again. And so I said, "Okay, I need to find them. Let me go to YouTube and find them." And so I began to start looking, and I say, and I began to look at him and look at Georgia, and then I said, well, man, I started looking at the Gathering of Christ even more. And I said, okay, let me just go ahead and just kind of hang out with these brothers, and I brought it back to our camp, the Men Empowered Organization camp, and they liked a little bit of what they said, and they were a little bit kind of puffed up in what they wanted to do. And I didn't want to be around this puffed up. And those people are not with us today that were puffed up. And so I began to listen to Elder Rikashia and all the other gatherings, Elder Lawyer and Gajanim and just so many, even the elder that's in New York, over the New York office. And his name slips me. If he's listening, I apologize for not remembering your name at this point. It's just so much that's going through my head, even though I heard from you, the one today. He is our elder that does you the testing, and he will test you to the fullness, and you better know it. So, like I said, I'm a graduate of the Hebrew Academy, and that gave me the basic knowledge, and I just took that and ran with it. And then it's just so much. I said, where have I been? It's like I've been behind. I said, man, how can we make this kind of mistake and not know this information? And then I just began to be on a run with this and run with it. So the reason for this broadcast and giving you my testimony today is because yesterday on the Gathering of Christ Church search engine, Dr. Manning of the Manning Report was on. Now, he's a very controversial person. I've seen him several times on YouTube, and really he talks about this political things, and stuff like that. But just like me, he do not know who we are in America. And so with that, I listened to that and everything like that. It was just absolutely amazing of what I said. And I said on today, when they invited him onto the show, and I believe they had a breakthrough in Dr. Manning's life in ministry, because if he would seek out what the brothers said today, just give him some little pinpoints. Like Deuteronomy 28 was enough for me. And then I started finding out other scriptures and everything like that. I said, man, somebody made a big mistake in telling us who we are. But once I found out in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 15 through 16, because we skipped that in church, in the church world, we want to talk about the blessing of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 1 through 15. We love to talk about the blessing, but we can't identify with that until we know who we are as a people. And so I love to wake our people up And I feel like I'm Morpheus. But I tell my partner, my work partner, as well as one of the elders with our organization, Men in Power organization, man, you knew me. I was like Neo in the movie Neo, and he knew that if I got woke up, there was no turning back, and I was going to run with the truth. And I sit before you today as the Most High as my witness that I'm running with this truth, and ever so, researching and continuing to know and do the knowledge. And come to find out, my baby brother has this knowledge as well. He had it before me, and he started speaking about it, but I would turn him off when he was talking about it because I said, oh man, he's not even going to church. What does he know? Well, he knew the truth. He knew the truth because he opened up the Bible and he read the Bible. A lot of us in church not reading our Bible. We're reading the Bible according to what the Gentiles want us. We still got that slave mentality that is on us today as a people in whole. We still got that particular mentality on us. But when we wake up, we're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And, my thing is, from yesterday's broadcast with Dr. Manning, I know that somebody is going to take this message and they're going to say, well, man, look, he got an idea like that. Just plant seeds. Just plant seeds and let the Most High wake those people up. They can wake up by the word. You may seem to think that you're not doing anything when you share the information with those people, but one day that little seed that you plant is going to begin to grow, and it's going to begin to develop, and before long you're going to see that particular person wake up out of the matrix. So that's about all my time, and if no one else have any questions or comment, I am going to end the program today, and we are going to get ready for Sunday's broadcast of the book of Jasher. I also wanted to remind you that my wife, Amy Jo Heron, will be with us. She will be our official reader of the book of Jasher for a number of weeks. We're going to see how far she can hang with us here on the Men Empowered Radio Show, Let's Talk. See how long she's going to go far as reading. So that's continue to plant that seed. Tell everybody about the broadcast of the search engine that the GOCC has on that. That is a good broadcast to let somebody that you've been trying to tell about the truth. Let them know about that, as well as let them know about, if you feel that my broadcast here is valuable, let them know about it. Share the link and pass it on. That's all I did. Well, until next time, my name is Malachi. I am going to sign off here and send you all away, and peace be unto you. Shalom. Here's Hen featuring Uriah. I know who you are. Do you know who you are? Shalom.
I know who you are. Yeah, I say I know who you are. Come on, we stiff-necked, we wild, we on the corner, wildin' out, we ignorant, we proud, rebellious.
I know who you are, boy, you need some help. Open your mind and free yourself. Truth and knowledge overpowers wealth. Put education on the shelf and take a second look and see which route you took. Fall in love with a bunch of crooks and forget you're the children of that book. To the enemies they told you, made you believe anything they told you, and left you with two decisions: either choose death or choose religion. But you fell off Jacob's ladder and chose to listen to the master. Got caught in the devil's rapture, now your life is a whole disaster.
Yeah, I said I know who you are. I know who you are, and I know where you're going. We stiff-necked, we wild, we on the corner, wildin' out, we ignorant, we proud.
We're the only ones can't see it. Got the truth but don't believe it. Cursed with being disobedient. To the days enslaved in Egypt. Then Moses said, let my people go. Still we act like we ain't know who was our father. We didn't even bother to listen. And not to mention we blatantly worship others. We went from one to another. We threw stones at our brothers. When they was trying to just bring us back to the truth, there's nothing wrong with that. Like Stephanos in the book of Acts. All he did was take the path.
Yeah, I said, I know who you are. I know who you are. And I know where you're going. We stiff-necked, we wild, we on the corner. Wildin' out, we ignorant, we proud, rebellious, our style.
I know the keepers of the law, we're standing tall, staying righteous above them all. What's the call, coach? The other teams fit with many men that's lost hope, cause they don't know the identity, but I do, so they envy me. Cause you're a nation of people that's so rebellious, accusers of your brother. When he speaks the truth, you get jealous, but I stay one accord with all my righteous fellas, cause we know who we are, there's nothing else that you can tell us. Nothing.
Yeah, I said, I know who you are. I know who you are. And I know where you're going. Yeah, I said, I know who you are. I know who you are. And I know where you're going. We wild, we on the corner, wildin' out. We ignorant, we proud, rebellious, our style. To be like them, we try. Our own culture, we deny. So unaware, we blind. We searching for a sign. I know who you are.